So we are living in a time where getting just good customer service, it really feels like winning the lottery, doesn't it? It's rare and it's unexpected. Now, constantly we deal with long hold times, or we come across untrained staff, or we get a lot of the automated responses that tell us that we're going to get back to you within 24 hours. And really that has all just become the norm. Now, companies are struggling with staffing. Customers are frustrated, and despite all of our technological advances, the human connection is disappearing. Yet, some companies are thriving by doing the exact opposite of what most businesses do. And by the end of this video, you're going to learn the exact framework that companies like Disney World use to create memorable experiences, and how you can implement it immediately, even without spending a dime. I'm also going to share our proven process mapping technique that's going to help you identify your biggest service opportunities in under an hour. It's something that our clients have used to dramatically improve their customer retention. All right, but before we dive into the solutions, let's talk about why we're really in this situation in the first place, why customer service is so bad. And ultimately, I think it comes down to this quote right here. Intolerable service exists because intolerable service is tolerated. All right, but it doesn't have to be this way. Let's look at the main reasons that customer service has gotten so bad. And first, there's what we call the warm body approach. Right? Companies are so desperate to fill positions that they're putting people out on the front lines with minimal training. They might hand them a manual, they might show them how to work the register and some of the technical aspects of the job, but then that's it. And then compare that to what companies like Disney do with their Traditions program. Now, every single cast member, regardless of whether they're going to be working on the attractions or they're going to be working in one of the restaurants or working in retail, they learn the company's history. They understand Walt's vision, and they get to hear and see examples of how past cast members created magical moments. So here they're not just learning procedures, but they are becoming part of a legacy of exceptional service, and then they understand exactly what is expected of them and the role that they're going to play in the experience. The second big issue is our over-reliance on technology. All right, now don't get me wrong, technology can be fantastic when it really enhances the customer experience. But how many times have you found yourself either stuck in a phone tree, pressing endless buttons just trying to reach a human? Or you're hearing that message going on and on telling you how important your call is to them? Do we really believe it? Or when you fill out a form on a company's website and they let you know that they're going to be back in touch with you within 24 hours. In today's world, that's unacceptable. But here's what's really interesting. The companies that are thriving now are the ones doing the exact opposite. They are investing in their people. They are giving them the tools that they really need to create what we call wow moments. All right, and I want to just share with you a personal example of a wow moment that I think shows exactly what I mean. So there's a sushi restaurant here near us that I love going to with my father. It's called Bonsai Sushi. Now, on our very first visit years ago, we ordered a couple of rolls and we had a great experience. We absolutely loved it. And so about a month later, we went back and we ended up having our same server. Her name was Michelle. And I mentioned that, I loved what I had the last time, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was that I had. Without missing a beat, she recalled our exact order from a month ago. Now that simple act of remembering, it made such an impact for us that we started looking for reasons to go back to that restaurant whenever we can. Absolutely love it there. And so this is where our customer expectations framework really comes into play. And now this is a tool that we've adapted from some research done by the Gallup organization on what customers expect from any organization that they're doing business with. All right, and we use this to help companies consistently create these kinds of experiences. And so let me break it down for you. Now it starts with being accurate. Now, it seems basic, right? I know. But how many times have you gone through a restaurant's drive-thru only to find that they got your order wrong? Or you received an incorrect bill, or they scheduled you for the wrong time for a doctor's appointment. Now, if we can't do the basics right, if we can't get those easy things right, doesn't matter how good you are at anything else. So then there's availability. That's the next level up. Even when you're busy, and we're all busy, right? But just acknowledging your customers when they walk through the door makes a huge difference. And I saw this in action one time. I went into a busy shoe store. And all the salespeople, they were busy helping other customers. But there was one salesperson who, she looked up, she made eye contact with me. And it was the kind of eye contact that said, I see you, I know you're there. Please don't leave. I would have felt guilty leaving. And that acknowledgement, it really changed everything about how I felt as a customer. I felt seen there, and I felt willing to at least spend a couple of minutes browsing around until somebody was able to come and help me. So the next level is partnership. And this is where we really start to differentiate ourselves from all the competition that we have out there. All right, and this is where that shoe salesperson, now she didn't just try to sell me the pair of shoes that I picked out, but she actually partnered with me to make sure that we found the right shoes. All right, because I had found a pair that I liked, but after insisting on measuring my foot, she actually found that the pair of shoes that I selected wouldn't be the most comfortable for me. She had recommended another pair of shoes that she said would be much more comfortable. And I was initially skeptical, thinking she was just trying to sell me a more expensive pair of shoes. But when I saw that they were ultimately the same price, I agreed to try them on. And I instantly fell in love with them. And then the final piece here is advice. Going beyond just the transaction to leave customers better off than when they came in. Like that same shoe salesperson. She told me what to look for in future shoe purchases because the arches in my feet have fallen. She said you need to get shoes with extra arch support like these. When your customers are better off because of the interaction that they just had with you, now you are really locking in loyalty. Now I get it. You might be thinking, hey, Danny, this all sounds great. All right, but how do we actually implement this in our organization? And so that's exactly what I'm going to show you next. When we work with companies to improve their customer service, now we don't start by telling them what to do. What we do is start by having them identify the processes that they know need improvement. All right, I'm not going to tell you that I am an expert in your fields. All right, you are going to know your processes much better than I do. All right, but this could be anything from how you schedule appointments, or how you onboard new customers, or even just how you greet people when they walk in your store. All right, it could be used for internal things as well, like hiring, training, handling phone transfers. Really any process can benefit from using this tool. And here's where this tool differs from most other process mapping exercises. We map out these processes step by step through the lens of the customer. All right, so take something as simple as a customer walking into your store. When you think through it, now they've got to park their car. They've got to walk up to the store. They've got to walk inside the store. Then they've got to search for the products or whatever they're there to look for. Then they have to pay for it, and on until they leave the store. So when you think about it that way, you start to see there are a lot of areas of opportunity when you can break it down to that level. And then at each step, we ask two very important questions. And that is, what would a mediocre experience look like or sound like at each step? And then what would an excellent experience look like or sound like at each step? And you know what happens? Companies start finding these opportunity gaps, places where they're just kind of going through the motions instead of really creating memorable experiences. So now as you identify these areas and you start to get everyone on the team actively working to deliver these excellent experiences at every single touch point, now you're really starting to differentiate yourself from all the competition that you have out there. Now let me share another example with you from Disney. All right, a family bought one of those big, expensive balloons out there at the Magic Kingdom for their kid. And then later that day when they went over to Animal Kingdom, they realized that they couldn't bring the balloon into the park because balloons aren't allowed. They could pop, they could frighten the animals. All right, so now what would be a mediocre response would have been if a cast member just said, sorry, no balloons allowed. And then the family would have had to walk back to the car, leave the balloon there. Now, the kids, the parents would have been annoyed, right? Because they had to walk back to the car. They couldn't carry the balloon around. It's an inconvenience and it's annoying, but ultimately probably doesn't stop them from ever wanting to come back to Disney ever again. Now, this is one of those moments that truly separates Disney from everybody else. All right, because what they did instead is they created what they called their balloon daycare. All right, so they gave this family a claim ticket, and when they returned, they got their balloon back with a note describing the fun activities that their balloon had done that day, including singing Let It Go with Elsa. The best part is this cost Disney really next to nothing. But that family, who are friends of ours, they could not wait to rush home and tell us all about that experience. It was that impactful. And it's just one of those several moments that Disney intentionally builds into their experience. And believe me when I tell you, those little wow moments, they add up and they make a big difference. All right, and here's what's really exciting about this. When companies implement these strategies, something remarkable starts to happen. So not only do customer satisfaction scores go up, but employee satisfaction improves too. All right, because think about it, when you are empowered to actually help people to create these wow moments, your job becomes a little bit more rewarding, doesn't it? And I've seen it time and time again. The employees who focus on creating these experiences, they're the ones who get promoted. They're the ones who survive layoffs and who build lasting careers. Today we're operating in uncertain times. So when you can be that person that goes above and beyond for your customers, companies are much more likely to do whatever they can to keep you. Let me put this into perspective with some real benefits that we've seen. Customer retention goes up because people actually want to come back. Word of mouth marketing increases, like this family who couldn't wait to tell everybody about this balloon daycare experience. Employee turnover decreases because people feel proud of their work. And then most importantly, your bottom line improves because happy customers are loyal customers. Now, I promised you some practical tools that will help you implement everything we've covered today. Now, we've created several resources specifically for this. All right, first there is our customer experience map. Now, it's the exact template that we use to help companies identify those opportunity gaps that we talked about. Now, you can download it for free just by clicking the link in the video description below. All right, and when you have a few moments, you can also watch this video right up here that's going to take you through step by step exactly how to use this tool. Then we also created our customer experience checklist that's going to help you evaluate where you stand with the customer expectation framework, and then identify some quick wins that you can implement immediately. You're also going to find a link for that tool down in the video description below. But if you're really serious about transforming your customer service, I want to invite you to check out the Dennis Snow virtual training platform. Now, our company created this resource to really dive deep into these concepts and to provide detailed implementation strategies and share even more real-world examples and solutions. Now, we've designed it to be practical and actionable, something that you and your team, you can start using right away to create those wow moments that we've been talking about here today. All right, and because you're watching this video, I'm going to provide you with a discount code for 50% off the normal price. All right, you'll find a link to the course down there in the video description below. When you follow the link, just click on the Get Started button and use the code LOYALTY in the coupon code box, and you're going to get $100 off. Now, you don't have to tolerate poor service in your organization. All right, whether you use our tools or whether you create your own system, the key is to start seeing through the lens of your customer and empowering your team members to create those memorable experiences. So if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and then go visit www.snowassociates.com to access even more customer service resources to start your journey toward delivering exceptional customer service. All right, because in today's world, good service isn't good enough, but great service will set you apart. Thank you so much for watching.